Yes, we are live. Welcome back, my dear friends. This is episode number 55 on Zero Point Healing Show. And in this show, we are going to discuss about how to use your soul's metaphors to activate inspired action using soul-based coaching. I know it's a mouthful, and if we are going to learn what soul's metaphors really are and what inspired action is, and how soul-based coaching uh, is a type of a healing modality that is offered by the Academy for Soul-Based Coaching. And I have with me Paloma today. She is a certified soul-based coach as well as a certified completion process practitioner. So before I move on to her, just a short intro about me. I'm Vishnupriya, and I have been certified in multiple different healing modalities. And I personally, in my work, I help spiritual entrepreneurs and healers and practitioners and facilitators to build their business and show themselves to the world. That is one of my mission in life, and that's one of my soul purpose as well. And and it is through that I got to bring out this kind of a platform, zeropointhealing.com, which serves as a bridge between healers on one end and clients on the other end, clients who are seeking for help, for solutions for their problems. And what Zero Point Healing does is it gives you this kind of a beautiful platform which consists of all healing modalities and all practitioners from all the different healing modalities. And regardless of what kind of issue or challenge that you had been facing in your life, Zero Point Healing has a solution for it. You can come in and search for the healer that you want to work with and which healing modality is going to serve you, help you at this stage in your life. And from there, you can go ahead and book the session. And if you are a healer or practitioner or facilitator, I welcome you to zeropointhealing.com. You can register. And if you're interested in one such interview, please do contact me for that as well. With that, I'm moving on to my guest today. Welcome, Paloma. Thank you so much for coming to my show. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, your beautiful journey. You are the first soul-based coach that I'm interviewing in this show, so I'm excited to learn a lot about it. So tell us how you found soul-based coaching in your life.
Thank you so much, Vishnu. First of all, I really have to say how much I appreciate what you're doing. I have this vision for our world, and I know that holistic healing and healers really coming into their calling and doing this kind of healing work is really going to be a big part of that. So thank you for making that possible for us. And about me, well, I've been on this journey for 2.5 years is when I discovered that I wanted to become a life coach. It was an epiphany. It came to me one day at the gym while working out. I had asked the universe to give me some more clarity on my true calling professionally, and I'd asked that about a couple months before, and it came to me at the gym one day. And before that, I was working as a social worker with refugees. And that was already a big course correction in my life. So my life up until now seems to have the theme of course corrections in it. I'd been doing that for 3 years. And before that, I had 2 jobs post-university, which were a really rough time for me. That was a 2-year period. And I struggled a lot with insecurity and anxiety that would become especially bad while at work. It got to the point where I actually needed to quit my first job. I was in a public sector consultancy firm and had to spend some time on sick leave because my anxiety levels were so bad. And then so I realized I needed help, and I sought sought some help from a therapist. I did inner child healing work with her. It wasn't the completion process, but it was very similar. And it changed my life, absolutely. It was like this point that marked this before and after in my life. Yeah, so then that's when I chose to really follow my heart and go into the social work, and I loved my job. And after 3 years, I could tell that I was ready for something different, something even better. And that's when I found out about the life coaching path and looked into different trainings that existed, discovered soul-based coaching, discovered the completion process, and took it from there.
That's so beautiful. Yes, I think it's about asking the right questions. And that's what happened with me as well. At one point, I started questioning everything in life. What am I? Who am I here for? What is it all happening around me? And that's when I was learning law of attraction and things of, the laws of the universe. I was like, if that's the case, who am I? So that's where my journey started. So let's talk about soul's metaphors and what that really means on a soul-based coaching perspective. And tell us also about the inspired action. What is inspired action with your work?
Yes. All right. So the soul's metaphors. Well, it turns out we all have a soul knowing, and we all call this a different way. Maybe you can call it intuition, your heart knowing. And it speaks to us using symbols and metaphors. We don't always realize it's doing this, but it is. And soul-based coaching capitalizes on that. It uses that fact to dive straight into our soul knowing. As far as inspired action, what that means, for me, I see it as in that soul realm, we have intentions, we have desires for ourselves. It's our calling, our purpose. And when we are aligned with that, the actions that we feel inspired to take is inspired action. So it's not so much about what the thinking mind is up to. And if there is thinking involved, it's at the service of that inspired action. And that feels like that, like a flow or like a naturalness.
That's nice. And can you give us a bit of examples about what soul metaphors are? So that when we are using a language and we are talking, we do not know where these words are coming in. So maybe we can start detecting it ourselves.
Yes. Well, it turns out people use up to 8 metaphors in a minute while speaking.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you can start catching yourself using metaphors, you already have a first door into your own soul knowing. Mm-hmm. And they can literally be anything. They're not just these kind of typical soul-like metaphors that you might think of. It could be a doorknob, it could be a light switch, anything at all. I can give a few examples of my own soul metaphors that have accompanied me on my business building journey. There's been a river. That one came up quite quickly in the beginning. And a raft. I'm flowing down a river on a raft, and I trust that the river is taking me where I need to be going. And lately there's been a bridge that's come up, and that's actually very interesting. This was just a few weeks ago. I was experiencing soul-based coaching as a coachee and talking about how I want to build my business and my visibility and my marketing. And the metaphor of a bridge came up. I want to create a bridge using the internet to connect to people who would like to cross that bridge because they know what's on the other side, this coaching approach. And then you contacted me. So, so like synchronicities are a huge part of soul-based coaching because they'll start to pop up quite intensely as a result. What else? The bridge, the cliff. So all these course corrections. Course correction is again another metaphor. But all of these course corrections have felt to me like jumping off of a cliff, and that's really scary, of course. So what I imagined was like either there's a net that's going to catch me, or I'm going to grow wings while I'm falling, but either way I'm going to be okay, right? Because I could tell that I just needed to take that scary step. So those are a couple examples.
Wow, that's so beautiful. Yes, small nuggets and pieces that can help us. That's beautiful. So so tell us how a soul-based coaching session would look like. How long does it take? Do you do it online? And tell us what exactly happens in the session, in the 1 hour session.
Mm-hmm. Soul-based coaching session is an hour-long session. At least mine are. They can be longer or shorter, but I find that to be the right amount of time. And I only ask questions. Well, first I like to start with a short guided meditation to really get present and grounded in the space. And I make sure they're comfortable, that everything's working for them all right. And then I really just dive in with the first question, which is, and what would you like to have happen? It's the same question every time. And then they give me their answer. And based on that answer, we develop their inner symbolic landscape that's specifically meant to help them get closer to that desired outcome that they've shared. So I've likened it to like a safari where you're going to get to go inside and explore around your own inner wisdom, your inner resourcefulness for that specific area or wish that you have.
That's interesting. So what kind of challenges or problems can a client come to you for? And if you can give some specific examples, I think viewers would benefit out of that. So give us maybe some examples of what kind of issues have clients come to you for previously, and what kind of results they were able to get.
The beauty of this coaching approach is that it can be used for literally anything, from the very mundane and practical, like wanting to pass a test, to the more spiritual, existential questions of life, like I want to know my true self, or my calling or purpose in life, things like that, and anything and everything in between. And I do tend, so that said, there are, however, I tend to notice some patterns. So people who are feeling stuck in life, and we all know that feeling, right? It's like, we know we want something for ourselves. It could be having a healthier lifestyle, or pursuing our dream job, or getting out there in the dating scene so we can meet the love of our life. But we feel like something's holding us back or blocking us. So this is a great way of getting more clear on what that is, and not only what that blockage is, but actually begin to start to actually experience a shift and a healing process around that blockage in real time during the session. It can have to do with more emotional kind of or psychological issues that someone might have, like if they struggle with something like, let's say, anxiety, or they struggle with a lack of confidence, insecurity, any other emotions. Those are ones that I've done a lot of work on myself personally. What else? I've had people who wanted to feel more disciplined in life. They wanted to manage stress better at work. There's so many. Feel a sense of connection, meet their dream partner, right? So as a soul-based coach, like, I'm really open. I'm holding space for whatever that desired outcome is, and there's no judging, there's no questioning if it's the right desired outcome or not. Because if you desire something, you're absolutely meant to have it. It's just a question of finding out how can there be more alignment towards that desired outcome, and that's what soul-based coaching makes possible.
That's so beautiful. So let's go ahead with the meditation that you have for us, and then we'll come back and discuss a little more. So my dear viewers, Paloma has a beautiful meditation that she's going to do with us, as well as give a small, maybe a taster of bits and pieces of soul-based coaching, because again, as she said, soul-based coaching is all about you uniquely, and therefore that cannot be done as a group session here. But what she said is she can maybe do like a meditation just to help us guide to find the answers to our questions, maybe.
Mhm.
Let's
Yes,
get started.
with pleasure. All right. So I think it's best to close your eyes. You're welcome to keep them open, but I find that helps to go inwards. And think about that thing in your life that you're struggling with currently, that issue. Just kind of take a moment to acknowledge what it is. And then ask yourself, what is this thing, this struggle, this issue causing me to know that I want? In other words, when this is something that you are struggling with, what would you like to have happen? And just take a moment to identify that. And holding that answer in your mind, in your heart, in your body, that's like what? What's that like when that happens? That which you would like to have happen? What does it look like? What does it feel like? Where are you when that has happened? When that is happening? And is there anything else about that? Where is that thing that you so much would like when it is present, when it is a part of your reality? Where is it? And when you are solidly in that space, in that reality, what happens next? And what kind of you is that you that has that thing that you want? And is there anything else about that? And knowing what you know now, what would you like to have happen now? And of course, you can spend as much time as you would like exploring this realm, this reality, this state of being, this desired outcome, and any symbols or metaphors that have presented themselves as you've been exploring, or any feeling states. But for now, you can begin to slowly externalize your awareness, bring yourself back into your body if you weren't already there. Yeah.
Oh wow, that was beautiful, and you directly started off the questions, and it was still like I was expecting that maybe it'll take time for the meditation and then maybe the questions, but you immediately started the questions, and I felt I immediately went to that kind of meditative state and started getting those answers as well. And for me personally, for the past 2-3 days, I had been wondering with multiple different questions with regards to the projects that I'm doing with Zero Point Healing and my Bliss Conscious Healing Academy that I have. So I was like having so many questions coming up. I was just writing it down. Actually, I was like, through the universe, I need answers for these questions. And I just wrote down just before this interview, actually. So I was like already getting the answers for those. Wow, thank you. And I think the changing the question that's just changing it all is, what would you like to have happen? And I really love that question. Instead of coming from the other end of what the problem is, it's about what's the result do you want? So that completely changes the perspective. Wow, that's so beautiful. And I also saw that you were having a little difficult time with using that and this, because you don't have the actual thing. What is it that the viewer wants?
Yeah, it is a challenge to
Do it in a group. Yeah, I was able to feel it.
But it is a taster. That's what it is. It's even more, of course, impactful and powerful when I can really know what the answers to the questions are, so I can get you to go deeper and deeper into them.
Yes, and when we are replying to your questions, you get the soul's metaphors from our answers, and then you keep questioning the metaphors. Is that how you do it?
Yes, yes. Common questions are, what kind of tree is that tree, for example, when that's a metaphor that comes up.
That's nice. Beautiful. And how do you identify the metaphors when a person is speaking? Because, for example, whether it is tree or a bridge or a river, it's all just normal language. How do you separate out the metaphors from other words?
Well, if they're using an object or a thing in a metaphorical way, then that's, because this is a glass and I can be talking about this glass, but I can also say it feels like in my life the glass is only half empty, for example. And that's already using it in a metaphorical way. And when that glass is half empty, what would you like to have happen?
Wow.
Yeah.
Lots of fun, maybe during the session, and lots of discovering ourselves, maybe. Beautiful.
It is fun. It's playful. Yeah.
Yes, it felt so to me as well. So tell us how you combine your other services. Tell us a little bit about the completion process service that you're doing as well.
Well, often I'll do just one or the other in a very pure way, but sometimes I will combine them, and they're very complementary. For example, during the completion process session, completion process, for those who don't know, it's a way of healing unresolved emotional trauma from our childhood. Anything that we experience in life that's a trigger is actually a ripple or an echo from an original trauma. And the completion process helps us go back in time and reparent and caretake and find resolution for that part of us that got stuck in that state. And I really like to bring in these questions, this metaphorical kind of questioning towards the end of a completion process session, when they've experienced the resolution and they've gone into the safe haven. It helps them anchor the healing impact of that new state that they were able to move into, really get it to settle and anchor. Yeah.
That's nice. And how are the packages or the programs that you have? How do you usually do these sessions?
I offer, for soul-based coaching, I offer a package of either 3 or 5, because a single session is going to be valuable, but to really work on a topic properly, it's best to have at least 3 sessions. For the completion process, I do give the option of single sessions or a package of 3 or 5.
Mm-hmm. And can you also explain a bit about completion process in depth, so viewers can know that as well, and decide what it is that they want to start with?
Mm-hmm. So again, the completion process is specifically designed to heal emotional trauma, which we carry in our emotional and energetic and mental system as we live our lives. And anytime we feel a strong trigger in our life, that is alerting us to the fact that there is an unresolved wound in our emotional body. And the completion process is a way of using the energy of that trigger to enter into that part of ourselves, which is normally a child, not normally, always. and the most important ingredient in this process is the validation. This is where the completion process is different than traditional inner child healing, because the step of validating the emotional state of that child is so important, because you can rush in and try to rescue or heal or change that child's state. But if you don't take the time to validate where it is emotionally, then that's a type of trauma in and of itself, when we experience a painful emotional state and no one's there to hold space for us exactly where we are. So holding space is a huge aspect of both of these modalities. That's kind of the foundation of my healing practice, is the holding of the space.
Mm-hmm. And during the completion process, is it like, how is the completion process, a session look like? Is it in a meditation? Do you regress them to childhood, or how is the process like?
Mm-hmm. So the first thing I do is invite them to feel into the emotion, the physical sensations of that emotion that they're feeling.
Can you give us a bit of examples about what these triggers could be? So what kind of emotions are we talking about?
I really like to work with people who who suffer from over emotionality, especially feelings of anxiety and insecurity and self-consciousness. So that kind of free state that people get in when they feel social anxiety or performance anxiety, for example. And but you could really use it on any negative emotional state. But I just happen to like to work with that one. So I invite them to feel into their physical body, into the sensations themselves. We invite those sensations to actually be present and take up space and be as intense as they are, which is what we normally, the opposite of what we try to do, which is get ourselves away from that as quickly as possible, to suppress it. And we actually ask those sensations themselves, when was the first time I felt this way? We're not using our thinking mind. We're letting our subconscious offer up the answer. And it might be a very clear memory, but it could just be a somatic state that intensifies. It could be a fragment of a memory. But we work with whatever comes up, because our subconscious mind is set to the mode, the setting of healing. It's wanting healing. It's wanting integration. So that's, and then when that memory does come up, we validate the child in that memory. Most importantly, we allow the child to feel the way it's feeling and feel the energy, the energetic charge of that emotional state, because the trauma has to do with the child having fragmented from itself in that state, because it was so intensely painful. But we allow the energy to really flow through the child, and then we bring in the adult self to help the child move through any resolution that's needed, so they can experience the opposite experience.
Yes, and so beautiful to let those emotions go, and I love the way the process itself is put down, so we get to experience those emotions and then release it, rather than what we usually do is to just compress it and keep it stuck inside of us. So beautiful. And I think your soul-based coaching and completion process just comes hand in hand. And I myself, I was thinking maybe I should do a combination of these sessions and see how it feels like. So
I do have
beautiful.
a package that's 3 and 3 for anyone who wants to do both. It's also the most economical package.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much. My dear viewers, you will, Paloma's link is right below. You can click on that and you can look at her services, and you can also book a session. You can have a discussion with her through the platform. You just have to click on book a session, and then you get to talk to her, chat with her, and see um, what exactly would you like to have. You can discuss with her what issues you are currently going through, and then ask her which modality is going to help you at this time. And then feel free to, as well as we also have a 10% off discount coupon code for your first session. So it's, the coupon code is 0 point. While contacting her, you can also tell her about the coupon code and get 10% off on your first booking. Thank you so much, Paloma. That was wonderful. And I loved to learn so much about what these healing modalities have to offer.
Thank you so much. It's been really a pleasure.
Thank you. All right, my dear viewers, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do subscribe the channel and also share this video. And I think the beautiful meditation that she did for us is really helpful. If somebody is stuck in their life trying to figure out answers to their questions, you can just share this with them. So this can also help them. Thank you so much for all your support. I'm going to see you in the next show. Thank you, Paloma. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.